Looky, Baron, it's done. He's excited. Can't you tell? All those files, done, ready to go. Finally finished with this book. Good morning, everyone. It is, I was just about to say April. It is May 15th. And I know I haven't been vlogging much, but the work life, author life balance has just not been working. And the whole author thing has pretty much just been squeezed out of my life for the last few weeks. But unfortunately, that's just kind of how things go when you have a full-time job and you're trying to have an author career and you're trying to have a life and you have other things that you have commitments to, like children and pets and, breathing and eating and, bathing yourself now and again. So it just kind of happens, and it's stressful when it does, and you just kind of have to deal with it. I kind of feel really disappointed right now because I basically haven't put up videos for the past 2 weeks. It wasn't intentional. I just didn't have anything in my backlog of videos to put up, which is whatever. But honestly, I didn't plan on skipping that first one. It just happened to be all of a sudden it was Thursday morning and I'm like, oh my God, where did this week go? And I have no video, and you know what? I'm just gonna have to let that happen. I considered on going live, but I didn't have anything to say. And when I was working like that, I'm just totally tapped out creatively as well. So it does make things a little bit difficult. I have gone back to my social media, which has been good. So I do feel like I'm getting a little bit more connection with people there, because when I dropped everything, it was a nice little bit of a break, but I felt like I was completely removed from everything. And when you're not working on your author things as well, you kind of feel out of the loop, I guess. So I've gotten back to my social media, which is great. A lot of that is kind of planned posts that I do have ahead of time or the night before or something like that. And then I posted my first TikTok in like forever this morning because I finally had a little bit of creative juice left to do something with it. But it does get really difficult when you're trying to focus on something else and you just don't have the creativity to do it. The other thing that I'm struggling with, well, not really struggling, I'm just behind on, is this weekend I need to do the final read through for Sleepless. It was supposed to be done earlier this week, but like I said, it just wasn't happening, and I was exhausted, and I would have been doing it piecemeal and I wouldn't have done a very good job. So I finally got to Friday. Things are finally, I think most of that I can kind of put in the past now, which is great. So I was going to work on it last night. Apparently there's a plane going over. Sorry about that. So I was going to work on some of it last night, but I was just exhausted at the end of the week. So instead of forcing myself to do it, I decided instead I took a bath. I finished the book that I was reading, so that feels like an accomplishment. And then I went to bed. I went to bed like crazy early, and then I got up early this morning and I went and I got myself a coffee. I got a big iced coffee, and I've got some bribery treats for my kid to make sure that he can keep up with the dog. And today, and however long I need to tomorrow, I am just going to sit here and knock it out. I'm feeling in a much better place. I'm not sure if I'm going to have a video this week or if I'm not. I would like to get back into the video streams and stuff, but the only thing with that is once I wasn't doing it, it's going to be a lot easier for me to just take another break rather than take another week break and then come back strong, rather than coming back for 1 week and then realizing I'm still behind and having to, not have a video or not have a good video the following week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of see how this weekend goes and where I get to. And if I get to the point where, I'm just not ready to film a video and have it ready for Thursday, then I'm going to take that other week and then come in stronger the week after. But if I hopefully will get through everything, this should be a huge relief off of me, because after this final proofread goes through, then I'll be able to, upload it to all the sites. Everybody's going to have it, like all my ARC readers will have it, all that kind of thing. And I basically will be laying this book to bed. And the only thing I'll have left to do is, the marketing and the lead up and all that kind of stuff for the release coming on the 27th of May. If you don't know what book I'm talking about, it is Sleepless. Sleepless is my young adult paranormal that is coming out on May 27th. It's kind of a cross between The Exorcist and The Craft, if that's something that you're interested in. So if you do want to check that out, the link is in the description box below, and I will be working on that. So hopefully I'll be able to lay this book to bed this weekend, and then I can get to fun things. I'm going to be taking a break probably until the release of this book. I wanted to jump right into the next Faraway High book, which is called Fierce, but I'm thinking that I'm probably just going to take a break until this book releases, unless I get the urge to like be creative and ideas start coming to me. So if they do, fantastic. If they don't, then I'm giving myself that time to just, market this book and chill and, take that break that I've clearly been needing. So hopefully this goes well. I'll be checking in as I do my proofreads. I'm really excited about this book. It's been a long time coming, and not only that, like as I'm reading back through it again, I remember why I fell in love with it. You get really frustrated when you get to the end of a book and you're almost like, oh my god, is anybody gonna like this? It's awful. And fortunately, I'm getting to those points where I'm reading through and it's like, yeah, actually I really like this. Yes, I'm really passionate about it. Yes, I love this. So that's a positive thing, because you never want to do your final read through and be like, this is junk, why am I doing it? So that's good. I'm really hoping my readers are going to like this book, but I'm going to be drinking my coffee. It is a beautiful day outside, so I might be coming out on my deck to do some proofreading, which would be lovely. And yeah, done, ready to go. Finally finished with this book. So hey everyone, what do you do once your book is finally up for a pre-order? Well, not up for pre-order, but all the files are up there. Well, you decide to take some promo shots for your book. So I've got a bunch of props here. It's a witchy kind of book. So I've got some like tarot cards here with the really cool like witch's moon and everything on the back. Some moonology cards. I have like scarves and all that fun stuff. I have, oops, we're gonna flip that around. I have some candles, necklaces, various different things. So we're going to take some shots and see what happens. Hey guys, it is May 27th, and you know what that means. It is release day, and I am so absolutely pumped for this book to be out in the world. So before I started my day, I figured I was going to treat myself. Normally, I just go for the iced coffee at Tim Hortons for a couple of dollars, but I am going to splurge on a $7 caramel macchiato from Starbucks. Because you know what? This is definitely something we're celebrating, so I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna take you along with me for most of my day. A lot of it's gonna be admin stuff because that's just kind of what happens, especially in a digital world these days. But I'm so excited for you all to join me for the release day of Sleepless, and cheers to that. So as you can see, I have a very full calendar for today. So I'm going to get started on that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump onto Goodreads and get a post up there for that. I don't typically use Goodreads all that much, but I'm really trying to incorporate that more into some of my releases because some people are really successful with that. Just, letting Goodreads people know that your books are out there, making sure they're on their TBRs and all that kind of stuff. So I'm trying to get better at that. I haven't really done a ton with it this time, but I figured better start somewhere. Sorry for the crunching noise. We have a puppy that's biting away down here. Say hi, Baron. Say hello. So I updated Goodreads. I posted in some Facebook groups. I got a hold of some of my author friends and posted into their groups as well. I updated on my stories. I posted like 4 or 5 TikToks today, posted reels, I posted posts on Instagram, made sure I got it on Twitter. I basically have hit everything that I can possibly do to tell people that Sleepless is out. So I do have some other things that I need to do. My newsletter for my regular subscribers will go out later tonight. So yeah, for me, the goal this year was to get better at launches, in the sense that I haven't been very good at pumping myself up. And I kind of put these books out and I'm like, oh, everybody's gonna hate it, maybe I shouldn't talk about it. But my goal this year was to talk about my books and make sure people are aware of them and get them out there, no matter how uncomfortable that makes me. So I have strived really hard today to make that happen, and I will be doing that over the next several days, obviously, because I do want this to be a release week, not just a release day. So far I think that it's been relatively successful. I've made some sales, and yeah, after this I guess we're on to the next book. Hey everyone, it is May 29th,
And the launch for Sleepless seemed to go pretty well, considering a lot of stuff ended up getting done kind of last minute because I was busy with other things, but I learned a lot, so I know I can apply them for future books. So that's really exciting. The thing that I found absolutely fascinating, though, is this is the first time that I have sold more paperbacks than ebooks on release. Typically, I do sell a lot of paperbacks just in general. I think it's probably just because I'm in young adult, maybe, that people are liking that paperback thing. But this time I actually sold more paperbacks than I did ebooks, which I found totally fascinating. So I don't know if maybe the dynamics changed. I have heard somewhere that a lot more TikTok viewers tend to like the paperbacks better. Maybe it's my dad. I did ask him, but he promises me he didn't order dozens of books in paperback, but he could be lying. I don't know. Anyway, I found it was really, really interesting, especially since they keep talking about, how ebooks taking over. But I'm starting to get that vibe that, those paperbacks and hardbacks are really starting to have almost like a resurgence or something. But maybe this is just an isolated incident. Maybe the cover is just really pretty and people want it on their shelf. I love the cover, so maybe that's it. Speaking of covers, I am back at it again today. I am trying out something called Get Covers. Now, Get Covers is a very cheap cover service. They have covers anywhere from $5 to $25 for a premium, which is pretty good. And that's with a wrap, right? Normally you're paying way more than that. And they're associated with something called Mibble Art. I'm probably saying this wrong, but it's M-I-B-L Art. And basically I had a cover that I recently bought from them, and they were fantastic to work with. They had a really cool portal that I absolutely loved. And I have a reader magnet that it was originally in a anthology of Halloween flash fiction stories, so it's only 10 pages long, and I use that sometimes as a reader magnet, but I really wanted to put it up for free on just Amazon and stuff, just to try and bring in a couple of readers and see what happens with it, because sitting on my hard drive isn't doing anything. Anyways, I made this cover for it myself off of Book Brush, and it looks okay, and that's what I've been using. But I was like, you know what, for $25, why don't I try to get a cover that actually looks better than what I could do? So I'm going to give it a shot. I've entered everything in their portal, which is really great. So hopefully I'm going to hear back from them. And I'm hoping that it's going to be something positive, and then I can put it up on Amazon for free and Kobo and all those sorts of things. And maybe that's going to be another way to bring readers into my series and stuff. It's a little bit of an oddball because it's written in third person, which isn't something that I typically do, but it does have that paranormal feel and a little bit of a twist, which is stuff that I always do. So I am going to kind of spell that out in the book for those people that are reading it, and hopefully they're just going to be entranced with it. Originally, when I wrote this story, I was kind of in a bit of a funk. It was after my first 2 books had come out, and then I just didn't write anything for a year, and I was trying to get back into it. So I signed up for this anthology to write 2 flash fiction stories. They were both really short, and this one in particular, I wanted to write a story that felt like reading a pumpkin spice latte, if that makes any sense. So it's a super, super autumn aesthetic kind of story, but it's got some romance in there, and it's got a twist ending to it, which is totally my jam. So hopefully that's going to work out. So I'm waiting to see that cover. I will show you guys once I have it. It might not show up till June, but we'll see how that goes. The other thing I'm working on today is I am working on the outline for Fierce. Fierce is the next book in my Faraway High series. This one should actually come together relatively quickly, I'm hoping, because it is a fairy tale, so it's based on an already constructed story. Obviously I deconstruct them a lot and change things, but it's kind of got a bit of a flow to it. I know how things are supposed to work. And secondly, the books in this series are typically shorter. I'm usually running between about 40 to 45,000 words, which is about half the size of a regular novel for me. So they do kind of come together relatively quickly. And I do already have the concept of what I'm going to do. So today I'm going to be doing the research that I have to do for when I do a fairy tale retelling. So when I do a retelling, I usually do 4 things first. The first thing I will do is I will take a look at the Disney version, whatever version there is, I will watch the Disney version. And there's two reasons why I do that. Number one, this is usually the version that most people know, so I can familiarize myself again with, the touchstones and things that people are going to remember and the stories that they remember. And secondly, Disney movies are fun, so it just kind of gets me pumped up and excited to write this book. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at the original story. Usually there's obviously going to be differences between this one and the Disney version, and first off, I'm going to find out what Disney changed so it could be possibly copyrighted, because you never want Disney to sue you. I know I'm pretty much small potatoes in terms of the world of Disney, but you never know, and you don't really want to put yourself in the position where you are breaking copyright law in a printed book. So I do try to avoid that whenever possible, so I'm going to be able to see what the differences are. Plus, it's going to be able to show me other things about the story. Like, for instance, when I did Falling, I went back to the original story, and there's this interesting thing about souls. So it tied in really, really well because I did my Little Mermaid retelling with angels. So it actually tied in really, really well to that sort of the way that I was going about it kind of thing. And a lot of people who are just really familiar with the Disney version don't really get that on the surface, but it is really, really cool because it does complements both versions that people know. This one in particular does not have a Disney version, so I'm just going to be starting with the originals. I'm going to be doing the 12 Dancing Princesses. So I have this book that I had ever since I was little, and you can see it's a little bit torn and stuff here. This has been rebound for me 3 times. I have gone through this book like a bajillion times, and there's a ton of different fairy tales in here, and with fun little pictures and all that kind of stuff. But it's fairy tales from around the world. So this one here would have been Aladdin, but they do have the original stories and how they're supposed to end. Like the original Little Mermaid, where she is supposed to cut the heart out of the prince, which is kind of left out in the Disney version. So it allows me to go back here to take a look at the original version of the story. Most of the fairy tales I have are in this book, or I have a version of them somewhere. And if not, I will look them up online, or I'll go get them from the library or something like that. Fortunately, the 12 Dancing Princesses is here, and I know that because this is one of my favorite stories that I read over and over and over in this book. It is not my favorite. My favorite is the Little Shepherdess and the English Prince, which most people have never heard of. Apparently it's Danish, but I've always loved it. Maybe I'll do something with it one of these days. But the 12 Dancing Princesses was also one of my absolute favorite stories, and I used to read it over and over and over again. So I will be doing that for step 1, going through this again with a notebook, making sure I am writing down things about the characters, major things about the story, and all that kind of stuff. Step 3, I am going to research themes. So one thing I'm going to do, and the internet is great for, is people like to break these things down and analyze them from an academic level. So I will take a look at, what are major themes and things that are in some of these fairy tales. Some of them are pretty obvious and you can figure them out yourself, but it is really nice to just kind of have that laid out for you and see what the major themes are, especially if you did miss it or if there's something that's really underlying, because obviously some of these are written for children too. So as much as they're there to, educate and entertain, sometimes there's darker things kind of under the surface that they're trying to get through, different agendas. So it's really interesting to see that and see how I can tie that in, or whether I want to tie that in to the theme of my story. And the 4th thing that I do is I will actually do research on the other retellings of this fairy tale that exist. Fairy tale retellings are not new. So many people have done them, and so many people have done them in various different ways. I think my concept that I'm going with this time is going to be relatively original. I haven't seen it before, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't exist. So I am going to go through and see what other retellings there are out there, what people have done with it, which A, could inspire me in various different ways with my story, or B, I might come across something that is a little bit similar or has similar elements. So I'm going to want to make sure when I craft mine to make it different. Obviously my voice is going to make it different anyway, but this is going to give me a chance to clean that up and make sure that I'm not putting out something that's similar to somebody else's, because when you're retelling the same story, it's so easy for that to happen. So I'm going to go through those 4 steps. They usually don't take relatively long, so that'll probably be my task for today. And then I'll let that percolate in my brain a little bit, and I'll probably start outlining tomorrow or Monday. My goal is actually to write the first draft of Fierce in June. I've kind of given myself some extra time in the sense that I really don't need to be done until about the 15th of July, but my goal is to try and finish it by the end of June. 40,000 words I'm thinking is probably what it's going to be. It'll always edit up. I usually end around 40,000, and then I get more as I edit and I'm adding things. So I'm guessing that's probably what I'm going to be aiming for. NaNoWriMo, if you know about that, in November, National Novel Writing Month, has a goal of 50,000 words, and I have won Nano twice now, so I feel like I'm relatively confident that I can get through 40,000 words. So that's what I'm going to try to do, but like I said, I gave myself like 2 weeks leeway on the end there in case I don't finish or I'm really close at the end and I just want to get there and get it finished. The reason I'm kind of doing that is I had intended for this book to come out in June, because Sleepless was supposed to be out like latest February. So when all of that pushed, it messed with things a little bit. Technically, I should really be starting the book that I want to do for my trilogy in July, but I don't want to put this book on the back burner just because there are already 2 books out in this series already. I haven't released one since last year. I would really like one to come out this year. So if I could at least get through the first draft in June, and then I can move to drafting the next book or the first book in my trilogy that I want to do. I do have an editor booked for the fall, so if I can do that and get that to the editor while she has that, I can come back to the story and edit it and do what I need to do with it, and then hopefully get that off to an editor when I get the other one back, and there's still a chance that this might still come out this year. So that's kind of the goal right now. If I manage to get through it a lot faster than I hope, then maybe I can take those first 2 weeks in July and do those edits for it because it is a little bit shorter, work really hard, get it done, and then have it with an editor while I'm drafting the next book. That would be the ideal situation, but I'm really not getting my hopes up just because everything I've done this year has kind of never worked out the way that I wanted it to. So that is my stretch goal, but my hope is basically that by July 15th, this book will be at least through a first draft. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and I will keep in touch.
Hey everyone, it is May 31st and we made it all the way to the end of May, which was really exciting. However, things didn't obviously go exactly how I had planned, but that seems to be a bit of a theme lately with my vlogs. One of my characters in my book Sleepless, which released this weekend, was sometimes best laid plans are best laid to rest. And I think that that was probably me being a little autobiographical at that point, just realizing that everything that I've been doing hasn't exactly played out exactly how I wanted it to. But that's okay. You know what? Sometimes plans change, and sometimes life gets in the way, and your mental health gets in the way, and family gets in the way, and things you didn't plan get in the way. So you just have to roll with it and adjust and make changes and do whatever you need to do to, you know, make yourself happy, make yourself comfortable, and get the things done that you want to get done. So now I'm a little bit behind on my schedule that I'd planned for the year. At this point, I had originally intended for Sleepless to be released latest February, and then I was releasing Fierce, which is my next faraway high fairy tale. I think I talked about it a little bit already, in June. However, instead, I'm going to write my faraway high fairy tale in June. So I'm planning to write most of it in June. I'm giving myself pretty much till July 15th to get that book done, which means I will be starting today with drafting of this book. So this past weekend, I did do some outlining. I know I talked about that a little bit. I did all of my research that I needed to do. I've started to map everything out. I do have a few tweaks with the magic system that I haven't totally figured out yet. So I'm going to be working on that. But I am going to get started writing today, just because I have enough up front to be able to do that. And sometimes by writing, it helps me solve some of my other problems, that little bit of a pantser in me that is allowing myself to, you know, solve my own problems as I write them. But I will still probably, after I do my regulated amount of sprints that I have set out for the day, I will probably come back and try to like just hammer it out. That way it will be easier when I come further down the line. So I do have word sprints that I have to do today. I'm hoping to get a good start on this book. One of the things I definitely didn't get done in the past month, though, is my paperback for Sleepless is still not here. I was hoping that it was supposed to be here Friday.
I have it coming from 2 different sources at this point. I ordered from Ingram. I still hadn't received it. I ordered from Amazon as well, just to see if possibly I could get a copy before the release date, and I didn't. And it was supposed to come on Friday. I didn't get it on Friday. Hoping it's going to come today. However, it is the Memorial Day weekend in the States, so there could have possibly been some delays that way, I'm guessing. So hopefully either today or tomorrow. If I get it today, I will pop it in this vlog. If not, you're going to be able to see it in the June vlog of the paperback of Sleepless, the unboxing for that, which is going to be so exciting. I cannot wait to see this live and in person. Plus, my artist made this like cute little frame on the outside of the paperback just to kind of tie it together a little bit more that isn't on the ebook, and I cannot wait to see it like in person. So excited about that. Plus, I want to do a photo shoot with those books, so obviously that's going to happen in June, because I doubt it's going to happen today, even if they do come in, because I'm just not prepared for it. And then I am going to be writing this book, so it'll be kind of almost like a nano vlog. It's actually too bad it didn't happen, and this didn't all happen in July. Then I could have been doing Camp NaNoWriMo, but it is what it is. So I'm almost going to have almost like a nano type thing of how my word sprints are going. I broke the entire book down into word sprints. I need to do about 180 word sprints, and that should give me enough for the first draft, unless the first draft goes like way longer than I anticipated. So yeah, you guys can join me in June for my 180 word sprints, and we'll get to see that paperback and a lot of other marketing things that are still happening. Just because the book is released does not mean it's done. So there's going to be a lot of, marketing and things like that that I still need to be doing in the next couple of months. So hopefully you guys will come back and check it out and check out my vlog. I will have some videos coming up over the next few Thursdays in June of some tips that I have, as well as I am going to discuss some of the big black holes in this vlog and what happened and why I wasn't having videos coming out consistently in May. So hopefully you will join me for that. Otherwise, I will see you all in June.